Nibbling. Nibbling says that you can get things at the end of the negotiation that you can't get earlier. Children are brilliant nibblers, aren't they? How many of you have children at home? Oh, high percentage. So you know they don't have to come to any seminars on negotiating, right? You've got to come just to stand a chance of surviving the whole experience of raising them. Very traumatic and very expensive. That's why God made kids so cute, so they'd grow up before you kill them. My daughter Julia, when she graduated from high school, had 3 things on her negotiating agenda. We have a funny custom in the United States for you Australians. You pay for your child to go through high school, and you buy them a gift. You pay for them to go through college. Private college can cost you $120,000 out of your pocket. And when they graduate, you have to buy them a gift. Now, I've always thought we're missing something here. Shouldn't they be buying us a gift after all that? But that's not the way it works. Julia had 3 things on her negotiating agenda for a high school graduation gift. Number 1, she wanted to get a 5-week trip to Europe. Number 2, $1,200 in spending money. Number 3, a new set of luggage. Now, she was smart enough not to ask for everything up front. She was smart enough to close me on this all-expense-paid trip, wait a few minutes, come back and show me in writing the recommended spending money, got me to commit to that. And then right at the last minute, she came to me and said, Dad, you wouldn't want me to go to Europe with everybody else set of luggage. All the kids will be there with new luggage. And she got that too. If she'd have asked for everything up front, I would have negotiated out the luggage, negotiated down the spending money. What's going on here? Why is this such an effective negotiating technique? A couple of psychologists did a study up at a racetrack in Canada. They were studying the attitudes of people immediately before they placed a bet versus immediately after they placed a bet. Now, what they found out was before they placed a bet, they were uptight, anxious, unsure they were doing the right thing. Now, once you relate that to a new customer, your salesperson is trying to convince them to switch suppliers, go with them, uptight, anxious, unsure they're doing the right thing. The minute they made the decision to go ahead and place the bet anyway, their attitude changed completely. Now, all of a sudden, they wanted to do things to reinforce the decision they had made earlier and were tempted to go back and double the bet before the race started. For example, you may sell a product and part of what you sell is an extended service warranty on it. The salesperson presents that to the customer, and the customer says, no, we don't need to invest in that. I know there's a lot of profit in that. So rather than lose the wholesale, they back off of that. But if they knew about nibbling, having reached agreement on the sale, they would say, can we take another look at the extended service warranty? I don't recommend it for everybody, but I really, really think it's important for you to do. It is the right thing for you to do. People are not persuaded by the amount of logic you give them. That's why engineers can't sell. They keep piling the logic on. They're persuaded by how well you can communicate the intensity of your feelings on a subject. I really think this is the way for you to go. And you got a good chance of them saying, oh, well, all right, if you think it's that important, sure, let's take another look at it. So always nibble for something you couldn't get earlier in the negotiations. On the other hand, look out for people nibbling on you. There's a point in the negotiation where you're very vulnerable, and that point is when you think the negotiation is all over. I bet you've all been the victim of a nibble at one time or another. You've been selling a car or a boat. You're finally feeling good because you found the buyer. Pressure and the tension of the negotiations is drained away. They're sitting there writing out the check, and just as they're about to sign their name, they look up and they say, that does include a full tank of gas, doesn't it? You're at your most vulnerable point then for 2 reasons. Number 1, you've just made a sale and you're feeling good. When you feel good, you tend to give things away that you otherwise wouldn't. Secondly, you're thinking, oh no, I thought this was all resolved. I don't want to have to go back to the start of this thing and renegotiate the whole thing. Maybe I'm better off to give in at this point on you. Now, your salespeople are not going to come back to you and say, wow, that was such a good negotiator. That buyer slid that nibble on me, and before I knew where I was, I'd agreed to include the freight on this. No, they're going to come back and say, well, I made the sale, but I had to include the freight in order to get it. So you got to train your salespeople to look out for people nibbling on you at the last minute. The counter gambit is to gently make the other person feel cheap, penurious if you prefer. You've made the sale, buyer's calling down to get a purchase order number for you, puts a hand over the phone and says, oh, that does include the freight, doesn't it? Your competitors include the freight. And the counter gambit is, oh, come on, we worked out a terrific deal here for you. Don't make us include the freight too, fair enough? They gently make them feel cheap.